Hello and welcome to T3 Day 21 of Honors Precalculus. Today we're going to talk about box and whisker plots, which tell us a whole lot about a set of data. So this is how we're going to generate them. We have a set of data right here. Ooh, that's red. Let's get it to yellow highlighting, make it more exciting. So here's our set of data, and let's do the 5-number summary by hand. So the first thing we need to do is write out these numbers in ascending order. And after you do that, you need to break it into 4 even groups to find the middle. It's kind of the easiest way to start, and that middle is going to be right here. And then you have your other breaks right here and right here. Make them all blue, like that. Okay, so then the minimum is going to be 343. And then your max, you could say your max down here, let's put them in order. Max is 405. So those are the easiest ones to find. And then your median is right in the middle there. So your median is going to be right in the middle. And because there's an even number, you have to average those two. So if you average those two, you end up with 372.5. And then quartile 1, which is the middle right here, between those two, because it's an even number, you're going to end up with 353. And then right here, right between 392 and 395, you're going to get 393 points. So that's quartile 3, 393.5, like that. So the way you go about drawing a box and whisker plot here is you first mark the minimum. So let's mark the minimum. It's going to be about 343 right here. And then your maximum is going to be 405, so right about here. And then you mark quartile 1, which is 353. You make it a little bit longer like this and draw this bar. And then do quartile 3, which we know is 393.5, so right about here, and draw this bar. And then you connect these two and you make a box right here, a box like this. And then you put in the median, which was 372.5, which is right here in the middle. And there is your box and whisker plot. So remember, this is 343, this is 353, the median was 372.5, and then you have 393.5, that's quartile 3 and quartile 1 in the median, and then this is the min, and then this is the max of 405. So this is a great way to visualize data. And what you can do is you can go in reverse. So the data could be presented as a box and whisker plot. So a movie theater recorded the number of tickets sold daily for a popular movie during the month of June. The box and whisker plot shown below represents the data for the number of tickets sold in hundreds. So what's the median number? The median is going to be this middle right here, the median number. So that looks like it's about 400 right there. And you have to estimate if you can't tell exactly. And then what's the range of the tickets sold daily? So the min right there is about 100 and your max is 900. So the range is going to be 900 minus 100. The range is 800. It's a pretty big range. Busy days and not busy days, pretty big difference. The middle 50% of the daily number of tickets sold is between what two numbers? The middle 50% is between quartile 1 and quartile 3. So there's Q1 and there's Q3. So it's going to be 600 minus 300 is 300. So that means that the middle 50% of the daily tickets sold is between those two. Sorry, I should write this in reverse here. It's between 300 and 600. So it's not subtraction. Is between what two numbers? It's between those two. So I mentioned this a little bit before in the last video, the idea of an outlier, a data point that's not representative of the overall pattern of data. So it's a data point that is not representative of the rest of the data. And this is how we're going to determine it. We're going to arrange the data in order and find Q1 and Q3. So those are the boundaries of the middle 50%. To find interquartile range, the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. We're going to multiply the interquartile range, the IQR, by 1.5 and subtract the value obtained in step 3 from Q1 and add it to Q3. And then any data value that lies outside these two numbers is an outlier. So this is an algorithm. It's a little complicated, but you run through it and it's not that bad. So let's do this here. So in this first data set right here, the first thing we need to do is notice that, hey, it's already in order. So that kind of makes us happy. We don't have to redo this. We don't have to do this. So what we're going to do is put a bar in the middle here. So the bar in the middle, there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like the middle here is 7. So we have the median right there. So then the quartile 1 is going to be equal to 3, and quartile 3 is going to be equal to 8 right there. So what we do then is the IQR you get by subtracting, which is going to be 8 minus 3 is 5. And then you do take that number and multiply it by 1.5. So you multiply that by 5 and you end up with 7.5 right here. So we got this final number right here. So then you take quartile 1 and you subtract, so you take quartile 1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. So quartile 1 was 3, and we're going to subtract 7.5, and that's equal to negative 4.5. And then we're going to do quartile 3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. So that's going to be quartile 3 is 8 plus 7.5 is equal to 15.5. So you have these two numbers here. You see these two? Any data value that lies outside of these two numbers is an outlier. So there are any data outside that? There are none. So there are no outliers on this one. So are no outliers. And I know this feels a little bit arbitrary, and we can get into why this is the way outliers are determined. But for now, you just have to memorize this order. This data set right here is not in order, so you'd have to rearrange this to find everything. But if you rearrange this and find the first two numbers, you end up with quartile 1 is 79.5 and quartile 3 is 88.5. So that means to find the IQR, you need to do 88.5 minus 79.5, and that's going to be 9. And then you do 1.5 times 9, and you end up with 13.5. So then you do the quartile 1 minus that, so you get 79.5 minus 13.5 is equal to 66. And then you do quartile 3, which is 88.5 plus 13.5, and you end up with 102. So anything outside of 66 to 102 is going to be an outlier. So let's take a look here. We scan this. Anything less than 66 here, anything less than 66, anything over 82, there is not. But if, say, there was a number over here, 105, for example, that would be an outlier. It is possible. So given the data set below represents the grades in each student in an AP Calculus class, find the 5-number summary. So you can find the min, you just look for the smallest number here, and that's going to be 68. And the max is going to be 99. And then after doing that out, you can find the median, which is going to be that middle number or the average of the two. It's going to be 89.5. And then when you break this down in line, you get quartile 1 is 85.5 and quartile 3 is going to be 92.5. So then how do you find those outliers? How do you find those outliers? You do the same algorithm before. So you find the IQR. So the IQR is going to be the 92.5, the quartile 3, minus 85.5, and you multiply that by 1.5 to get the IQR. So when you do that out, you end up with 1.5 times 7. So you get 1.5 times 7 is the IQR right there, which is equal to 10.5. And then you do quartile 1 minus it, so you get 82, sorry, not 82, you get 85.5 is quartile 1. So 85.5 minus 10.5, and you end up with 75. And then you end up with the quartile 3, which is 92.5 plus 10.5, which is 103. So we look, are there any outliers here, any pieces of data that are considered to be outliers on this? Is there anything outside of 75? The outlier is going to be this 68 right there. That 68 is not between those two numbers. So what you do here is, first, if there is an outlier when you're doing a box and whisker plot, which in this case there is, the first thing you do is you draw that box and you draw that outlier. So that's 68, which is right about here. And then do the mins and maxes. So you had a min of, not in the data set. So the min in there is like 84, I think it was. The min, not the outlier, was 84. So you go to 84, which is the outlier that's not, the min that's not an outlier. And then the max was 99. So you're right there. And then you mark quartile 1 and 3. So it's 85.5, which was right here. And you get the, quartile 3 is 92.5, 92.5 right here. So you draw the box, you draw that bar like this, and then the median was 89.5, which is like right about here. So that's 89.5, and then we had a quartile 3 of 92.5, a quartile 1 of 85.5, so this is Q1, this is your median, this is your Q3, this is the min not outlier, and that's the max right there, the max being 99 and this being 84. But this is the outlier out here, so when you're doing a box and whisker plot, you specifically put that outside here. We eliminate it.